Evening. Thank you so much for joining us this evening for the Clintonville 3 60% Design Meeting. We want to thank everyone for taking their time this Thursday evening to be with us. We want to thank the North Broadway United Methodist Church for hosting us. We want to thank Pastor Marcus Atha for having us and his wonderful staff. We want to thank also Columbus TV for having us, or for joining us and recording this meeting. We have a very full agenda for you guys all, lots of great updates to share for you. Let me go ahead and start this. Go ahead and jump on in. So I have a really quick question if you guys want to raise your hand. How many people joined our 30% design meeting back in March of 2022? Let's raise them. Okay. All right, perfect. And how many people never heard of Blueprint before they got the invitation to tonight's meeting? Okay, all right, great. Good mix. All right, perfect. So because of that, we're gonna go ahead and start this meeting off with a Blueprint 101. And it's just gonna basically give you guys a high-level understanding of who Blueprint is and what our goals are and what we set out to accomplish. Following that, we're gonna go into project updates. And then after that, we're gonna go into neighborhood updates, and that's gonna be given by our city engineer. And it's going to go ahead and orient everyone with the map. And if you didn't attend the 30% meeting, no worries. It's going to go ahead and show us the updates that we've made since that, okay? And then concluding all the presentations, we're going to go into a Q&A. During this time, we want to ask that all the questions stay general project and area limited. We'll have an open house following that where we'll allow more specific property questions with the engineers, okay? So we're going to go ahead and get this all started. We're going to go ahead and start with Cameron Kier. He is our outreach communications specialist, and we'll go ahead and start this off. Thank you.
Thank you. Wait, I want the clicker. Or I can't do anything. Good evening, everybody. Again, thank you all for coming out. I know it's a Thursday night. I know there's other things to do. I know you probably all have other activities, but we're really happy to see so many faces here and understanding why this is important. I see a lot of folks around the back. If you can't get a good view of the screen, another reminder, our friends from CTV are here. They're going to be streaming tonight's presentation. It's going to be on Facebook. It's also going to be on YouTube, and we're going to link that to blueprintneighborhoods.com. That's our website. Hopefully tomorrow, if not tomorrow, it'll be up on Monday. So if you have any, want to go back and look at any of the slides or anything like that, we'll certainly make that possible for you. I just want to do a couple things off the bat here. I want all of our outreach team members that are in the room and anywhere else, can you please raise your hands? So take a good look around the room. And our engineering staff, our consultants, if you could raise your hands as well. This is a good example of the size of the Blueprint team. Yes, in the back. I'm very sorry, there's no audio back out there, so this is what we've got. I'm so sorry, thanks. Yeah, folks, if you have seats maybe in your row, if you wouldn't mind squishing in a little bit and raising some hands, if folks want to filter in as we get started, if we could just make a little space. We've got quite a lot of fellow residents back there who could look for a place to sit. So if you all want to come up, I don't know. All right, come on up. I promise. I don't bite. I haven't been to the zoo recently, but you know, it's okay. I'll try to be as friendly as possible. The other thing I wanted to note tonight, if all of you that have experienced a water issue here in Clintonville could raise your hands for me, please. Okay. Now let's all take a look around the room at everybody who raised those hands. This is why we're here in Clinton, what we call Clintonville 3, Southern Clintonville. This is a neighborhood project, a neighborhood endeavor to, I don't want to go too far that way, improve everything. So I want to get started tonight. I want to remind everybody that the Department of Public Utilities has changed names, and we are now Columbus Water and Power. We did this after quite a large number of survey results, quite a large number of focus groups, and even talked to some of our internal staff that said, what is the problem? What are we known for? Well, it turns out we were getting a lot of confusion between us and the Department of Public Service, who is responsible for maintaining those lovely Columbus streets, the Department of Public Safety, who handles police and fire and everything else. So we went very simple: Columbus, water and power. I want to get started with a little video here, which kind of explains what Blueprint is all about and why we're here. So this is a look at what's currently happening in neighborhoods like Clintonville. If we get a lot of heavy rain, rainwater is entering our sanitary pipes. As that rainwater fills up, if you know anything about water, one thing is it doesn't want to stop moving. It always wants somewhere to go. Our storm sewer system has built-in sanitary sewer overflows to prevent significant issues system-wide. Some of that water then is sent out into our rivers and streams. Other times it goes back into a basement. Anybody here have a sanitary basement backup? Okay, so we don't like to hear about that either, and this program is aimed at fixing just that. The question is, how are we going to do it? The Blueprint Columbus program was created to prevent sanitary sewer overflows, and as an added bonus to that, we are cleaning and filtering the water that is going into our rivers and streams and making it a better product than it was before. What we had a couple of years ago, more than a couple years ago, back into the early 2000s, was the Ohio EPA showed up and said, hey, you're putting too much untreated water into the rivers and streams. Obviously, we didn't like to hear that, and so we had to come up with a solution of how we were going to fix that problem. They issued us a consent order, and thus the Blueprint Columbus program was born. If you're familiar, some of your neighbors to the north, up in the northern sections of Clintonville, had rain gardens installed about 2018 to 2020, so the project is already well underway up there. Again, this is a green, innovative green solution for our separated sanitary and stormwater system. So what do I mean by that? If you happen to notice out on your street, whether you know it or not, there are two different sewers throughout most of Clintonville. Those two sewers are storm and sanitary. Sanitary takes care of the stuff we don't want to talk about or smell. Stormwater takes care of the stuff that falls from the sky. Our goal is to keep those systems as separate as possible. That was some of the views in that video there that talked about all that rainwater getting into the system. Instead of just building yet another tunnel, digging up more Columbus streets, making more traffic headaches, not that we do that at all, we, as the city, made a decision to invest in green infrastructure, invest in your neighborhood, promote local, permanent jobs to create and maintain our rain gardens, and engage the neighborhood, exactly what we're doing tonight with so many faces out here in the audience, so that you know and you can be a part of this process. Here's a look at where we're located. Now, it's tough to see on the map, I understand that. Clintonville 3, the neighborhood we're in tonight, is that southern light green box there. If you're familiar with the map of Columbus, that would get to where we are just north of the University District. As you can see, our projects area span all the way from the north of Clintonville. We go west to east from Hilltop over to Livingston James, north to south from Clintonville down to the near south. These project areas span over 18,000 acres of neighborhoods, and some are in construction, some will be in construction. Currently, we are in the Hilltop, the Linden area, and we will soon be in construction in Miller-Kelton, just about to start an area along the Livingston James corridor as well. You know, the interesting thing I hear a lot when I answer phone calls or emails is, well, you know, the polygon is weird, and I live a street over, and this happens here or that happens there. Why is that? This map was created by our engineers to look at the exact addresses, the exact streets, the exact houses that are found to contribute to our sanitary sewer overflows, our SSOs, if you've heard that or seen that anywhere in any paperwork. So where you see breaks in that map, it's very intentional. The biggest break that we see is if we look south of Clintonville towards the university in downtown, there's a completely separate sewer system there. It's combined. All of the stormwater, all of the sanitary water is treated together, and it's filtered right down to the water treatment plant. The rain gardens wouldn't do what they do here in Clintonville. The green infrastructure would not be as big of a deal as it is in those neighborhoods. So we take a big 30,000-foot view at exactly what Blueprint does. We have 4 separate pillars, and I'll dive into these individually in just a minute, but they are lateral lining, they are sump pumps, green infrastructure, and in some cases, roof water redirection. The column there to the right, the green column, the green infrastructure is, I'm sure, what many want to hear about tonight. Those are our rain gardens, our pervious pavements, our bioretention basins. So let's just take a quick look, again, for some of those folks who weren't aware of all of what Blueprint offers. This is a good time to take out those notebooks and jot some things down. The 2 things that I'm about to show you here come to you as project area residents at no additional charge. I don't want to say free because you're paying water utility bills, hopefully. If you're hanging out on your utility bill, just don't walk towards the back of the room too quick because we'll know. But the lateral lining is a very successful system. It's it's basically our bread and butter here. This is what we really like to see. If you're not familiar with the term sanitary lateral, that is the piece of pipe that goes from your home to the main sewer. In most cases in Clintonville, that's going from the front of your home out to the sanitary sewer under the street. What we are doing is an innovative solution. We are creating a new pipe inside of the existing pipe that connects your house to the street. Why are we going to do that? Back to that first video. The roots, the dirt, the trees, everything that crumbles those pipes up. We have found a way to line this from inside out using a resin and using basically a PVC-like material. Everybody now is going to look at me and say, wait a minute, you're going to dig up my yard. You're going to put a new pipe in. No, we're not. We are going to go from the manhole closest to your house. We're going to inflate. Actually, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put a camera in there. We're going to clean it out. And we're going to look and see what it looks like in there and if it can be lined. If everything looks good and we can get our material in there, we're going to go right back from that same manhole with another crew. They're going to come in. They're going to inflate this thing in less than a day. It's going to stick to the pipe for a couple hours and dry, and you're not going to notice a difference other than seeing fewer water backups in your neighborhoods. It's a byproduct. It's a benefit. It's not the total purpose of Blueprint to eliminate all of our flooding. So, how many people in this room have a sump pump in their home or in their basement? Yep. How many people have a sump pump that is not working? Okay. If you didn't raise your hand yet, or if you raised your hand because your sump pump is not working, you also qualify for a sump pump through the Blueprint program. We are installing those as we roll through areas, and I will have a sign-up code for you momentarily. That is, again, offered at no additional charge. So the 2 things I mentioned, if you have neither of those things right now, if your lateral has not been lined by another company or you're looking to get a potential sump pump, ballpark, you're saving yourselves anywhere from $15,000 to $20,000 that you then can claim, hey, I did $20,000 worth of work to my home, when you turn around and sell it in this crazy housing market, right? Because that's what everybody's thinking about. All right, big time now. This is what we're talking about tonight. Green infrastructure, bioretention basins, rain gardens. Here we go. So what is the goal of the green infrastructure? Leaves, debris, nitrates from fertilizer, soaps from car washes, oil off of cars, you name it, flows down the street. Without the green infrastructure, all of those pollutants are going to go right into the storm sewer system. And because it's a separated system, remember, we've got those 2 pipes right now. The stormwater is not filtered before it goes out into the river, so all that goes right out. By adding our green infrastructure, we're doing 2 things. We're slowing the water down. We're slowing the water down so that it does not overextend the system during a heavy rain event, and we're cleaning all of those pollutants out of the system so that it makes cleaner water on the other end. Here's a couple of examples of some of our current bioretention basins. I want to point this out really quick. If you go to blueprintneighborhoods.com, there is a self-guided rain garden tour, great for not a hot day like we've seen lately, 95 degrees plus, but if you want a nice walk through parts of Clintonville and North Linden, or drive it yourself, you can see each of these types of bioretention basins and permeable pavement in action. But to break this down a little bit, on the left-hand side of the slide presentation, the behind-the-curb rain gardens are what you are going to be able to expect in your neighborhoods. If you have a basin that was marked by our engineering staff near your front yard, in part of your front yard, these are the types of basins you can expect to see. We have the bump outs over there as well. These are a conversation starter for sure. Our bump outs, I've heard it. I've heard it. I've held the phone about this far some days. I've looked at the email screen a couple times before responding some days. Hear me out for a second. The bump out gardens are very efficient at collecting water and filtering a large amount of water. We know they take away parking. I've heard it. How about some good news? What if I told you in the Clintonville 3 project area we were not doing any bump outs? Does that make anybody happier? This is the benefit of our design process. At 30%, we had a lot of areas marked that could be bump outs. To 60%, and we'll get through this with our engineers in a few minutes, we have eliminated the areas with bump out rain gardens. So the other thing we have, regional rain gardens. We have a couple of these potentially planned in the area. They're great. They're on currently existing, maybe a City of Columbus land bank property, a city park. We built an entire park in North Linden around a regional rain garden. And it's stunning, it's beautiful, and the plants in there thrive all the time. The last thing I want to point out is the permeable pavement. This stuff is really cool. It literally takes an entire street, creates a rain garden out of that by using biosoils and permeable concrete to filter that water through. Does exactly the same thing. So we've talked about the different types of bioretention basins and rain gardens, and we've talked about moving the water from your home with a sump pump, and we've talked about lining the lateral. This picture shows exactly how it all works together. I know it's a bump out. I didn't make the graphic. Just bear with me. They're efficient, remember, they take a lot of water. So, water comes off the street or out of the house or out of the sky. It's filtered through the rain garden, and you can see down there. And again, if you go back tomorrow morning, if this is difficult to see on the screens here, when we'll post the slides, we'll post the video, you can take a closer look at this. You see there how there's some mulch, some biosoil, some rocks, all of that filters down, and then you see we have that little animated connection there to the storm sewer. That is our process in action, bringing everything together to filter that water. So, how do we torture you and select where we're going to put a rain garden? We take our numbers and we say, guess what? They've called us 15 times, so we're putting one right there in front of their house. I'm kidding. Everybody here tonight is part of the 60%, part of our detailed design process. We want your feedback. We want your input. We know those trees that are on the right-of-way line and in the neighborhood are important to you. Can we fix every problem? No, we cannot. Can we try our best to come together and reach a happy medium? Absolutely. We want to hear your feedback. I have a whole room over here of our design engineers that are going to be out at individual tables later tonight to take notes and listen to what you have to say. So we have a very detailed process of going through and choosing our rain garden locations. First being the land bank spaces, the green spaces, the empty spaces we have in town. Second being the right-of-way. How many folks in here have a very clear understanding of what the right-of-way is in the city of Columbus? Yes? If you go online and you read the city code word for word, it sounds like George Carlin at a comedy act because you know none of the words in the middle of it whatsoever. There's a lot of ands and therefores and whatevers. What I will say is the right-of-way exists. It's about the last 8 or 10 feet of grass, depending on your street. There is no set size. We like to keep things confusing. Last 8 or 10 feet of grass between your yard and the street. That's why we went out there and marked those basins right there. I think what a lot of folks have some difficult time understanding is technically that right-of-way property belongs to the city of Columbus. We do that because our utilities are buried there. Could be electric, could be gas. In this case, if you have a basin marked there or you see that or you see a manhole, there's definitely either a sanitary or a storm sewer in that location. If we keep the rain gardens in that area, we do not have to bother private property. We technically don't have to do what I'm doing here tonight, but we want to hear from you. We understand that that is the yard that you're responsible for maintaining and that you have things there that you've seen for years and that this will be a change. So, Next, we have pavers. You're thinking, gosh, why in the world is part of my yard above digging up a street for permeable pavers? It's just that. If I go and have engineers put permeable pavers down the street, it's a 9-week construction process. The new process that we're doing now is to close the entire section of street for 9 weeks. It's very invasive. You can't park on the street for 9 weeks. And we know that's a lot of street parking that you'd lose for that amount of time. The pavers are effective, so are those bump outs, but look, they're all the way down there at the bottom. All the way down. We heard you, I promise. So, again, my general project updates are this. Right now we're at 60%. That means we still have 40% of design to go. Some of those basins that are marked in yards today will change in shape, size, location. Some are going to disappear altogether, because we are looking at stormwater modeling all the time. Some are not going to change, so there will be some impacts. We'll try to minimize that as much as we can. Here's a fun one. I know it. I know this is why some folks are here, and I've heard it. And I've talked to folks when we were out a couple weeks ago marking the basins, and the thing that continued to pop up was, you're not maintaining the rain gardens. I'm going to be real honest. We got hit with a 1-2 punch. We had an incredibly hot summer and fall last year. A lot of our plants, simply put, because they're native plants to Ohio, did not survive that heat. On top of that, we get into the beginning of this year, and we have a contract issue. And I want to explain what I mean by a contract issue. The city of Columbus has an incredibly robust policy for how we spend public money. This is to protect the money that you entrust us with and ensure that we're doing things in a transparent fashion. When that happened, outside of the control of Blueprint Columbus, a previous maintenance contract was canceled. We are now in the home stretch of adding contractors to that street. I also want to call out Kathy Spatz and her team. Kathy organized members of our maintenance staff who are out 7 to 3 every day to work 4 hours of overtime for the last couple of weeks every single day to get ahead on that maintenance and come out and show you that we are hearing you and we are fixing this problem. We are also going to take a group from Franklin Soil and Water. These are folks that have gone through a rain garden maintenance class, and we're going to bring them out and we're going to do an all-out rain garden maintenance day to get these things looking as you would expect them to look and as we expect them to look as fast as we possibly can. But this process does take time. It's not overnight. I wish it was. I wish I could come out there and fix the weeds for you. But I do want to tell you 2 things. We remain committed to maintaining your gardens, and we ask that you not go in them yourselves. I've seen some notes. The soil, the biossoil, is soft for a reason, because the water has to filter through it. By stepping in there an incorrect way or doing this or that, you do run a slight risk of damaging that green infrastructure that we have put in there. So please, I know it's asking a lot, but just bear with us here as we're in the home stretch. Let us do the yard weeding for you. We don't need you to work on our behalf. These are all connected to the stormwater system, storm sewer system. They're our job to maintain. This isn't advancing. Can you guys go to the next slide, please? I think the clicker might be having an issue. Oop, now I went too far. There we go. All right, this is the QR code. I'm going to leave this up here for just a second for the sump pump sign-up program. This application takes all of about 20 seconds if you do it online, if you didn't check the box up front. All it is name and address, phone and email. We're not going to sell your information. We're not going to show up and ask to put solar panels on your roof or kill the mosquitoes in the yards, because we just don't do that. But if I do come to your house, we'll have city identification and vests on, so excuse me that you do know that it's us. There is a wait list for sump pumps right now. I'm sure some folks in this room are still on that wait list for sump pumps. I'm sure some folks are in the room and have said, hey, I've been on the wait list for a long time. We know. We have had an overwhelmingly positive response to the sump pump program, and we are rolling through these installations as efficiently and safely as we can. Installing a sump pump, though, is a bit complicated. So bear with us on that. If you've got individual questions on the sump pumps, blueprintneighborhoods.com. and our phone number's up there. The only thing that I cannot tell you and I will not tell you is I live at XYZ address. What day are you coming to install my pump? Because I'm just going to tell you right now, there's a wait list. And that is the answer that you'll get. So just bear with us. They will call, and it is a first come, first serve. So if you signed up a while ago versus signing up tonight, you'll be queued in that way. Did anyone here happen to receive one of these additional cards with what we left you with Blueprint Columbus for our lead pipe survey and lead safety Columbus survey? Anybody happen to get one of those on their doorstep? Okay, couple nodding heads. So this is the additional program that we're doing in Columbus right now. If you received one of these, what it means is that the city cannot identify your service line material, and we're asking for your help. You're thinking, gosh, how do you not know what my pipe is? Because what we're talking about, and this is hard to see on this, I understand that. I'll tell you where you can get more information in just a second. We're talking about the first piece of pipe coming out of the wall, connecting to the base of your water meter. So it's probably in a utility closet, it's probably in a basement. If it's anything like mine, you've probably buried it behind your Christmas tree, your child's first tricycle, maybe even some of your own family memorabilia. If you got one of those cards, we really need you to scan that QR code and tell us what that first piece of pipe looks like. What we're very, very concerned with is galvanized steel or lead lines that are on the individual resident side of our homes. We are replacing these through project areas at no additional charge. Another huge benefit of Columbus. This is part of a federal mandate. My colleague Hannah Mullen has a table set up in the back outside of the sanctuary tonight. If you have individual questions, if you want to know if your property has already been surveyed, maybe you just moved in, ask her. She's got a tablet and computer. She can look it up for you. And if you happen to know, without a doubt, I've got copper, I've got plastic, and you are on the list, please let us know that as well. And then we'll stop bothering you and coming door to door. That's all for Blueprint 101. I'm going to be here for questions after we get through the rest of the presentation. I'm going to turn the microphone over to Rachel right now from Stantec, and she's going to talk about an update on the Walhalla Ravine, which is also located within this project area.
Thank you.
Here you go. That one.
Can everybody hear me okay? Hi, I'm Rachel Mullaney. I'm the project manager for the Tulane-Finley sub-project area, and Jihan's going to go through the sub-areas within Clintonville 3 here next. But I just want to take some time to talk about another project that is related. It goes hand in hand with Blueprint, but is a separate project, and that is the Walhalla Ravine restoration. So as part of that project, we are proposing to restore Walhalla Ravine, so stabilize eroding banks, and that's proposed to occur between Clinton Heights and Longview Avenue. The goal of that, or the aim of that project is when we stabilize eroding banks, we prevent sediment from going into Walhalla Ravine, and therefore the receiving stream, the Olentangy River. So it helps the water quality in the Olentangy River, and the reason that it is related to Blueprint is because we are able to quantify that water quality improvement that we get from the stream restoration, and therefore put less rain gardens in the neighborhood to achieve that same level of water quality improvement. So as we go through these next slides, you'll see the difference between the 2022 design and the current design. You'll notice that a lot of the rain gardens have gone away, and a big part of that is due to the Walhalla Ravine restoration. So the update there is that our plan is through all city approvals and is through all environmental permitting, so that's Ohio EPA, U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. So where it stands now is we are in the easement negotiation phase. So the city has to have property access agreements with the property owners in that area, and we cannot proceed with getting a contractor to do the work until all those agreements are in place. So the design is complete, we're ready to go, we're just waiting on those last couple easements to come through for that to move forward. Oh, sorry, there's the slide. And then another part about the Walhalla Ravine that maybe we haven't talked about yet is the invasive species removal. So we had a biologist from our firm walk up and down the ravine, and we've identified a number of invasive species. namely mostly honeysuckle, some tree of heaven, and we have located those invasive species accurately on public property. We've also taken note of the ones that we can see on private property. We did not go onto private property to locate those, but sometimes you could see them from the street. So as a result of that, we've prepared work orders. In the city needs a signed work order agreement to be able to enter your private property and perform those invasive removals. So I believe Outreach has been in contact with the impacted property owners. If that's something you're interested in, we would really appreciate you signing those work orders. The success of the invasive removal project is obviously going to depend on the amount of work orders we get signed so that we can go on that private property and perform those removals as well. And I think that's all I had. Here, John.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jihan Al-Khairi. I'm the City Project Manager. Today, I will walk you through Clintonville 3 project, which we give it a priority due to high number of basement backups and sewer overflow that discharge into the Walhalla Ravine. I will start here. Clintonville 3 project includes 5 project areas. Each area is a city project manager working closely with a design team. Let's take a look at the project schedule. And now we are in the design phase. Design phase includes different stages. We usually start with the survey. We completed the survey in this project, and we collected data on the underground utilities, parkings, trees, and water flow patterns. Then, based on this data we collected, we identified the potential locations of the rain gardens in this area. And this when we completed the 30% design phase. Currently, we are now in the 60% design phase, and we've selected the preferred locations of the rain gardens. That's what we are going to share with you today. And then after this stage, we will go forward to the 90% and then to the final design phase. Regarding the project timeline, as Cameron now explained that this project includes several pillars. The first pillar is the sump pump. This work has started in this area in 2022 and will continue the work till 2026. The second pillar is the green infrastructure, and that will start in 2026. The last pillar is the lateral lining, and that will start in 2026 and continue till 2029. Here, after we received the feedback from the residents and conducted more analysis and more studies, we made some changes since then, and like different than what we proposed in 2022. These major differences are 4. The first change we made is we excluded Doris Weber area from the green infrastructure. However, we will keep performing the lateral lining and the sump pump as we planned for this area. The second change is roof redirection program has been suspended because we found it has a negligible impact on this project goals. The third change we made is no previous pavers and also no bump outs will be installed in this project. The fourth change is we included gray infrastructure. That means we will upgrade the storm sewers in this area in different locations to address the flooding issues found in this area. Now I am going to go through the sub-areas in this project and go through the changes. I will start with Fredonia Piedmont. The 3% plans included 44 rain gardens and 4 regional rain gardens. And in the 60%, we decreased the number of the rain gardens after the Walhalla Ravine restoration work, and decreased it to 3 regional rain gardens, 15 rain gardens, and we will have no loss in the parking lots in this area. Here I want to highlight the median in Torrance. This median initially in the 30% design, there was a plan to install 2 regional basins in this median. However, after the community engagement and hearing the feedback, that this median is actively used by the residents in activities and gathering and concerts, all these things. In response, we revised the design. And we just will have that small, I can say tiny, rain garden that will be at the corner of this median. It will be in the northwest corner. So now we will have like a minimum impact on the community activities. Thank you. Thanks for also ICAM who redesigned it. And now you can see here how it will look like. So the rain garden will be at the corner, so it, as I said, it will not impact the area you guys use for your gathering and social activities. Here I will go through Milford Summit area. The 30% design included 19 rain gardens and 5 pavers, permeable pavers. Then the change in the 60%, 13 rain gardens and no pavers and no loss in parking. Here you see a rendering showing before and after installing the rain garden in different locations in this project. You can just see how it will look different and how we install it behind the curb and with beautiful walls, 2 walls only. Winthrop Milton area, the 30% included 152 rain gardens, 7 regional rain gardens, and 5 permeable pavers. After the Walhalla Ravine and revising the plans, the 60% will include 17 rain gardens only. And that's also rendering that's been prepared to show how before and after in several locations. Tulane Findlay, the 30% design included 20 rain gardens and 6 blocks of pavers and loss of 2 parking spaces. The 60% included 23 rain gardens and no pavers and still loss of 2 parking spots in this area. And here you see also renderings. We have these renderings outside also in like large scale, you can see it. Here I will hand it to Cameron for Q&A. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jahan. Thank you so much. Isn't it cool how we got all of you to stand right there on the island and get a picture that you didn't even know was going to happen? So here's what I'd like to do now. I'd like to open the floor to Q&A. We're going to do a couple of things here. I'm going to have a couple of our Blueprint team members. We have 2 microphones coming around. What I would like to do, please, is if you would wait to talk until the microphone comes to you. That will ensure that everybody gets to hear the question. It also ensures that it's captured on our recording. Additionally, please, if there are side conversations that you'd like to have, if you could take those out to the back of the sanctuary, we'd appreciate it so that everybody can have their questions heard. I've got one question up here, and we'll start back there since that's where the microphone is. Oh, I'm so sorry. I forgot one more thing. This is totally my fault before the hand starts shooting up. If you could, again, please keep these questions to high project level, entire streets, entire area, all the stuff we've been going over so far, we'd appreciate it. If you have an individual question about your property, about a singular basin, about anything like that, again, our engineers are going to be at tables outside as soon as we're done with this portion, and we will get to those questions as well. So let's start in the back here. Yes.
Okay, you brought up on the lateral lines that as long as they are clear, they will install this balloon.
Yes.
You did not say what happens when they are not clear.
Because I don't want to. That would be mean.
Because in my case, they installed a new sewer line in the
Okay.
alley behind Crestview. They offset their connection from my lateral line to the sewer line. So I've had backups ever since because now I've got an opening that's about 3 inches wide.
Okay, so generally, our crew will go in and televise and clean as much as they can and endeavor to line as much of the lateral as possible. With the individual question about the bump out there on the back of Crestview, the gap, talk to one of the engineers. They're going to have the best individual answer for you. And again, our goal is to line as much of that as possible. I had a hand up here second. If somebody can get a microphone up here, please.
You've given us absolutely no statistics about the effectiveness of rain gardens, and you've had a lot of time to study this. What is the effectiveness or ineffectiveness of rain gardens? Scientifically, not maybe it works, maybe it doesn't.
I mean, I think the maps in that case speak for themselves. If we don't do a stream restoration, we have to put more green infrastructure in to slow that rainwater down and clean it out. If we don't clean this water, statistically, with the growth in Columbus and the extra rain events that we're seeing, we're going to have to dump untreated water into the Olentangy River. Untreated water contains poop. Jahan?
Yeah, the statistics is OSU usually go out and do their tests and give us the report for each area. So we are now waiting for them to send us this study. That's it. Like, we don't do that.
Why don't you have statistics on the rain gardens that you've had?
Actually we have, but I don't know about the other because I'm managing this area and I don't have the statistics right now with me. I wasn't on the other areas to tell you the exact number.
That's really bad that you don't have any statistics at all.
No, we do. No, we have, but not for this area yet. I may don't have for the other areas, but we do have them. But because I wasn't on the other areas, I just don't have the number for you.
About rain gardens, and we want statistics.
Yes.
You should have those at your fingertips.
I understand that we should have this, but we depend on OSU to go out and do this work. For this area, we haven't done anything yet, so we don't have the numbers. For other areas, I wasn't on this project to give you exact numbers.
Incredible.
OSU has done a study on our Clintonville 1 rain gardens. We actually have a professor here who worked on that study. He's over there in the yellow. I told him I would point him out if this question came up. But we are going to be putting the results of that study on our website, blueprintneighborhoods.com. And we would welcome you guys to take a look at that. They are effective at removing pollutants from the stormwater.
In the designation order that was sent out as well, and this may have been some time ago, but again, this is on our website, you can see the levels of sanitary sewer overflows each year. And you go back and look at those as well in Clintonville 1. That may give you a little more information. Yes?
I just had a quick question about the kind of the collateral damage when a rain garden is put in and how long it would take. You know, I have to assume there's like heavy moving equipment and digging and staging the dirt and things. And I just wondered what that's going to look like and feel like for our section.
I think Jahan might be the best to answer this question. I'll say, I mean, you know, just go ahead and listen out. No, I'm just kidding. Please, the impacts are as limited as we can make them. We have an impressive processes in place to ensure that we're replacing trees if there are trees impacted, maintaining traffic to ensure that you're still going to have access to the street, and doing as little impact as possible to leave you with a better product.
Yeah, correct. It will be minimal, like distraction. It will be just at the site, and we will make sure that we will not impact the resident that much. We have our construction administration and inspection people there. We have our also inspector there to make sure everything is under control, no distraction, nothing, like as much as we can.
How deep are we talking about digging for the rain gardens? I think that may help answer the question as well.
Yeah, the maximum is 18 inches the buffer, and maybe you can help me, guys, the design people. What is the depth? 4 feet. 4 feet, correct? Yeah, 4 feet deep. The length depends on the location, but the depth is 4 feet. Yeah. Yeah.
So typically during construction, they'll excavate down 4 to 5 feet, and then they fill that back up with different layers of aggregate. So stones, soil, everything else, build it back in. When you're left with a maximum of an 18-inch drop from the sidewalk down into the rain garden.
I'm more concerned about what's happening to the left and the right of the construction site.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's construction. So there will be days and times where there will be equipment that's around. But we have a very robust team that will notify, either if I get a notification, if you email us or you contact 311, we'll work very quickly if there's something that's bothering the neighborhood to get that mitigated as fast as we can.
I also just want to say that as we progress along in the design, before we construct anything, we'll have a pre-construction meeting. We have the design team here tonight. We'll bring the inspection team and the contractor as well, so that you can ask very specific questions of, this is next to this site that you're thinking about building this, or you're going to build this. You have a rock garden. Are you going to bother it? That kind of thing. You can ask them those direct questions. You can tell us now, but you can also ask them as we get closer to. So.
I'm going to go right here.
Thanks. This woman on the left was talking about the Walhalla Ravine project, which apparently is going to make a very big difference in how many rain gardens you have to construct. But I live very close to the Walhalla Ravine, and I know that the stream is extremely shallow, and you didn't say anything about what exactly you're going to do to widen, deepen, whatever, the ravine in order to mitigate some of the problem.
Rachel?
Yeah, I could speak on that a little bit. So as you know, since you live there, the bottom of the stream is bedrock, right? So when it is bedrock at the bottom, where the erosion happens are on the sides. So the stream is always trying to widen itself and erode itself on the sides, on the banks. So the effort of the project is to put stabilization measures, so those can look like boulders on the toe with plants on the top, and that keeps those banks from staying in place. So the width of the stream is not going to change much at all compared to existing because we are bound by the roadway right there. So really, we're stabilizing it in place and we're stopping it from continuing to move into people's yards and erode away. Does that answer?
So is the water going to be deeper?
In one spot where it comes right out of the storm sewer right at Clinton Heights, we're going to deepen it in that spot. And the idea is that the water comes out and plunges down, and that dissipates energy. That slows the water down. So we're deepening the water just right in a pool, right in that spot, and then it will go down just as normal. You're welcome.
Thank you. In the back.
Does this work? Oh, yeah.
There you go.
Thank you for this because it's super informative. My question is kind of technical, but there were some of the things that you guys were explaining about water and all that. Some of it was the road, the
Permeable pavers?
Yeah, that. Did you guys look at all about, because I know a lot of Clintonville streets have the old pavers and now they're covered with asphalt.
Yes.
So I was just curious about whether you guys had considered just going down to the pavers, because I know some streets have it. And so I was just curious about that, if you guys look into that option.
So our permeable pavers look like the old bricks, but underneath those we have specific porous concrete and filtering materials that go down and then dump right into the storm sewers. And so it may seem like it's as simple as just kind of scraping off a top layer of pavement and going down, but it's actually it would basically be a full reconstruction of any of those roads. And so then we would be potentially, undoing a lot more infrastructure. And that's why, as you saw on that grid, the pavers were lower on the list. I'm going to go over here.
Oh, is it on? Okay, perfect. I've got a rain garden coming to my front yard, and I'm pretty excited.
Wonderful.
So my question, you mentioned 311, but I'm hoping to learn a little bit more about what the system is for maintenance requests and such,
Sure.
so that there's open communication between kind of homeowners who are seeing it every day and the hopefully new contract team that's coming in to whip things into shape.
So there are several ways to get in touch with us if you notice a maintenance issue. 311 is a great one. Those are actually routed to my desk. And I turn around to our contract teams in the various areas and I say, hey, we've gotten a request. It needs to go out there. You can email Blueprint. You can go on blueprintneighborhoods.com, send us a note, or give us a call, or email us at blueprint@columbus.gov. Our goal is to hit maintenance on about once a month interval. So you should see that maintenance happening about once every month. I'm going to go back over here.
Just three things I want you to comment on. One is, in the studies that you said have been done for, our neighborhood already has had these since 2018, as you said, are you going to tell us of the 4 or 5 different designs that are out there, which ones are more effective? Because we have a variety of them by us. So that would be helpful information. Also, are they aware of the ineffectiveness of the markings at night? Because we've had accidents and bottoms of cars torn out during the daytime, even of people who run into them. So the little stakes with the reflectors could be better in some way. And then the last comment was about invasive species. You said you were going to do something about that Walhalla, and I just wondered if any of the other ravines were going to be given that treatment.
All right, let's go through these in order. We said effectiveness of the rain gardens. As I mentioned, those regional basins and everybody's favorite bump outs take the most water. By improving the Walhalla Ravine, you saw in the 2 maps the difference that makes in the amount of behind-the-curb rain gardens that we have to install. In regards to the markings, yes, and in some of the cases, we are working with the Department of Public Service and their Vision Zero initiative to allow these rain gardens optimistically to act as a speed deterrent. I've heard from many of you as we were walking around, speed is a problem up and down streets in Clintonville. In a perfect world, they see that in enough time and slow down. That is another thing in addition to the maintenance, that if you see a damaged marker, please notify 311 so we can come out and get that replaced as soon as possible. We really do pay attention to these requests, and the city wants us to look at those in as timely of a manner as possible. The third one, I'm sorry, give me it one more time. Invasive species. Other ravines planned at this time? Not at this time. Where's my microphone? Way in the back.
Howdy. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
I've got a 1938 home on Walhalla, and this is the first I've followed this quite a bit, but it's the first time I've heard about the water lines. I know I've got lead line coming in the house, so if I have not received one of those cards, the city knows I've got a lead line, it'll be replaced.
It is likely that the city is aware that there is a lead line there that's on your street. What I can say is, at this point, Tiffany, we have not found lead on the consumer side of our system.
That is correct. We have not found a lead line on the private side. If you want to come talk to myself or Hannah after the presentation, we're still interested to know the material of pretty much everybody in the whole city. Whatever you have as a water service line, they will all be replaced, just depends on when. So some of these were being replaced through blueprint because we're uncovering the road and we're bothering these lines, so we're going to do it anyway. Others will be replaced just as part of the process, as part of the program. So if you want to come find me afterwards, we can find Hannah and we can get that done. Thanks.
Thumbs up back there. Yes, where's my microphone floating? It's coming across. I just want to make sure everybody can hear this stuff. Thanks for your patience.
Yeah, I just wanted to know why pavers aren't being considered when you're having problems maintaining the rain gardens, because I know pavers are a little more expensive to put in, a little more of a problem to put in, but you don't have to maintain them. Not like
we do though.
Well, you have to maintain them, but you don't have to have the contract coming out and put new flowers in. You're not going to have to, flowers aren't going to die, those kinds of things.
Here comes Tiffany.
So you might have driven the pavers in Clintonville 1. They are actually quite high maintenance. So we have a special truck that's supposed to come by and suck out the dirt in between the pavers. We have to do it a lot, and I think you probably noticed some of them are wiggling, so we might not be doing it quite as much as we should. And then there's another vehicle that comes and rechips it. So right between all of the pavers are little tiny ones. So it actually does take a bit more maintenance than the rain gardens do
really
themselves.
Nice in that really nice neighborhood.
They are. They do look nice.
That would look really nice on our street. So much nicer than that rain garden that is not maintained.
Yeah.
I think I want to add one more thing about the pavers that people don't really know until their street is planned for them, and that is a lot of times because of their excavating the whole street, the tree roots are impacted, and it can result in a lot of street trees, especially mature street trees, needing to be taken down. So in order to avoid having to disturb the root system of street trees that are really nice and established, permeable pavers are often avoided in those blocks where we can not site them. So just keep that in mind on the permeable pavers too.
Hey, good evening, guys. I have one thought process. I'm in the Milton project, so I'm on that 6th intersection where we have 2 rain gardens going in on the corners. Have you guys thought about maybe putting a roundabout there to slow down the traffic, help with the children? I was like, therefore, we're not tearing down. We're not tearing down the trees. We're not tearing up the yards. A roundabout, it's perfect for that area. I don't really want a roundabout, but I'd rather not have my yard tore up. So
I'm so glad you brought that up, because it gives me a chance to pull out the notes I received today. So there were a couple of issues that we looked at in those intersections and building roundabouts. The first off, just to be perfectly transparent, Department of Public Service is the one who would build a roundabout. We have installed rain gardens previously where a roundabout already exists. Adding one is not something we've done before. We have looked at an ODOT study where safety and traffic speeds came up, that they don't believe it's a feasible location. In addition to that, the functionality and the stormwater management is better handled by the behind the curb rain gardens as the water is flowing down the street. Again, we've had modeling and we've had our engineering teams look up and down the street to see how that best works. And in that particular section, it appears as though that the individual gardens are working a little better. I'm going to go right back over here.
Hi, I live in the first section, I believe, of what was done in Clintonville up by Glenmont and Blenheim. And I have watched the deterioration of the rain gardens since they were implemented. I'm wondering what the current, how many you put in initially, how many you're going to put in down in this new area, and if you can't maintain the first number, how are you going to maintain the second number?
Yeah, I think we, okay, yeah, that's fine. I think we discussed that a little bit, that we are bringing on additional contractors, and that is going to help the process continue as we go forward. Kathy, what did we say yesterday? 900 some rain gardens have been installed? 700? Okay. And again, we are at a goal of monthly maintenance on these basins. I understand that you're not seeing that right now, and as I said earlier in the presentation, we got hit with a 1-2 punch. And that was it has been a significant concern in that area. So.
It's really nice when you said you were going to have people come out from time and put some of their own time in and help. Obviously, you don't do a lot of gardening. So you have no idea of the time it takes to maintain those kind of facilities.
Well, they're very specialized, first, and there's going to be times a year, second, where the plants don't look beautiful all year long. I'd love to live back in Florida where I was years ago, where everything blooms year round, but our climate sometimes doesn't allow for that. We have been on Glenmont, Kathy, I believe, servicing some gardens already. It's possible that they've been partially maintained, and we're going to be back again, and the contractors are coming out on the streets. So to not further belabor a point, I'm going to go ahead and move on.
What is or what will be the impact of the Columbia Gas pipeline?
That's a good question. Traditionally, Columbia Gas is in an area prior to Blueprint's construction. They will relocate any utilities that they have under where we're building green infrastructure, and they will take care of moving those.
They have installed a gas pipeline down to Clean Road.
Are you referring to the one that was installed recently on Tulane? The one that was installed recently down Tulane, yes. So that is as part of our project area, Tulane-Finley. We're aware of its location. We're going to avoid it during construction. So it's on Columbia to go and restore what they've left at this time. But we will not be hitting their line or digging anywhere near their line.
I believe the microphone's over here.
Hi, thank you. I was just curious, I think I heard you say that some of the native plants couldn't survive the heat from last year, and I project that will possibly continue. If there aren't any plants, does the substrate still help filter? Okay, I just wanted to, okay. Thanks.
Yes, and to kind of better clarify that point on the plants, you know, we're still in a very young period for some of the rain gardens, especially ones that we just put in. So we're talking maybe first, second year of growth for some of those plants that were hit in the summer. Over here.
Hi. I wanted to say thank you for your quick responses to my emails when we first got marked. We have 2 buckeye trees and a persimmon tree.
Yes.
And the marked off area. These trees are probably 8 to 9 inch in diameter. Beautiful, beautiful, thriving trees. Are you going to take them out?
Well, that's a great example of a question for an individual design engineer. See the area that you're in, speak with the engineer. The goal is to get feedback. I can't say yes, I can't say no, we're only at 60%. So the basin was marked as such. We've got 3 trees in that area. we're going to take a look at it. All right, I've got time for about 2 or 3 more individual questions, and I'm going to go right here for the first one.
Just a real simple question. Since you're not doing the pavers, is there any chance that you could be ripping up the streets at all, or is that not going to happen, or is there any situation where you could consider that it could happen?
I never want to say no, and then, a construction incident occurs, and it's obviously right in front of your house, and that's exactly where I have to dig up the street. The goal is that this would be off the street in the what I'd call the residential portion of the right-of-way, the grass area of the right-of-way. There is one area where we are doing some gray infrastructure, the storm sewer, Jahan, and that would be, you'd be able to give the streets that we may be impacting that way.
Yeah, we are doing upgrades in 2 areas, Winthrop Milton and Tulane Findlay. I think Tulane Findlay, we will have it from where the, Longview, you can say.
Longview and Benford. We are proposing to put storm sewer upgrades, and that was in response to resident feedback that we received earlier on in the process about frequent flooding in that area. And then also when we install our rain gardens, sometimes a sewer is required to get the water from the rain garden to the nearest existing storm sewer. So we're not talking thousands of feet, but we are talking, we got a pipe from the rain garden to maybe the next intersection where there's an existing sewer.
And then in Winthrop Milton, there's going to be gray improvements for the storm sewer. Those gray improvements are going to go, I believe, down Northmore from the intersection of just to the east of that star intersection, and then go down the Montrose to the Olentangy River, the storm sewer. There's an existing storm sewer on Montrose that is going to be upsized and through the park and be upsized until it gets to the river. So.
Thanks. Again, with Blueprint and with the city process, the goal is that we will have a maintenance of traffic plan to ensure we're limiting those impacts as much as we can. I'm going to go right back over here.
There it is. Good evening. I'm wondering why have a landscape contractor? Why not have an internal hire? Surely that would be a bit more, I don't know, that it would have greater accountability and there would be less of a problem of a contract being canceled. Why not have a full-time or part-time staff?
Yeah, I think it's never our goal to cancel a contract, right? And again, Blueprint didn't cancel that contract. It was canceled by the process, which protects public money. I don't want to get too far ahead, but can I say multiple at this point? Is that fair? I know we're not pen and paper yet, but yeah, Kathy, if you want to come up and just quickly address, I think that would be beneficial. Kathy Spatz is in charge of rain garden and green infrastructure maintenance for the city.
Good evening. I can tell you that we are well on our way to making a lot of process improvements. And I know that everybody's heard that, but I am here to tell you that there is really some change. Change is difficult. We've all gone through it. We're all going to continue to go through it. And we do have multiple contracts, multiple contractors. So it's not just one group that's going to start going all the way around the city right now. We've got multiple opportunities that are going to be hitting these areas at one time. And this is really due to the growth and listening to what you, the residents, are telling us, because personally, I'm not comfortable with the way some of these are any more than you are. We do have to work with the conditions that we have, which is we've got seasonal change, we've got weather patterns, and we've got some things that we need to address differently. As some of those tender plants going in, we need to figure out that approach of how to make sure they're better. We need to come up with those plant choices so that they're a little more viable. And all of those things are happening throughout these process improvements for the rain gardens.
Thanks. All right, we've got, whoa, that was loud. That was the first time it happened tonight. Thanks, Todd. Last question is right here.
Yeah, I live on Melrose Avenue, and my yard is the only one that's marked on the whole street. And they have run their line from my sidewalk almost all the way across the front and the main part of the yard. Now, what I'm wondering, the neighbor up on the east side of me would like to have one. Him and his wife said they would like to have one. Could they put it on the other side of my walk and then run it on over into their yard? Because that's really going to mess up my yard.
So the first thing I would tell you is to go look for our project engineer team that is looking at, you said Milford, correct? What was the street? I'm sorry. Montrose. Melrose. Look, there's M's. I had that was it. I'm going to go down the list. Take a look at that. It could be the location of the existing storm sewer. It could be the location of where they're seeing the most water come down the street. But I am going to say go ahead and take a look at that individually.
Can I follow up? Thank you. My question, I guess, then is where is the data located for where, you guys said the engineers chose the exact location for where the rain garden should be. Where's that data located so that we can see what the criteria was for the location?
Well, that's what we're presenting tonight. We are at 60% of our design. This is not a final design. The modeling is going to continue to change as we look at how the current rain gardens in the plan are going to work, what's going to happen with the Walhalla Ravine, and looking at the area overall. So that is going to continue to change. To wrap things up here, I want to talk about a couple of next steps. And this is, I didn't plant her in the audience, I promise, but this is exactly what we just said. So from 60% to 90% final design, we want to take all of this feedback and hear from all of you. Our engineers have been taking notes. Every call, email, text that you all have sent in the last couple weeks, we've been noting, jotting down, and compiling together to review that. We will alert you, as Tiffany said, when we are at the final design stage. We will have a pre-construction meeting. If you have a marked basin that was in your yard, when we get to 90%, we will be back out to remark the final locations of the basins. So that will happen again. It will be another chance for folks to come in and offer their requests. The other thing I'm going to mention, City Council has asked and the Departments of Neighborhoods have asked that we include updates on the City of Columbus Deer Survey. There's another QR code for you. We want to know how you feel about the deer population impacting Columbus, eating all of our lovely flowers. No, I'm just kidding. See, I am a gardener. There you go. But it does happen. And that's what City Council wants to look at, wants to hear from and see exactly where it is. So I see a lot of phones looking at that QR code. That's pretty much where it is. I want to thank everybody you see up here, all of our outreach team, all of our city staff that are here tonight to answer all of your questions. Thank you all very much. Again, our engineers are going to be off to the left out here as you exit the glass doors. If you have individual property questions, they'll speak to you.